Welcome to yet another session with Mr. Abraham Verghese here and myself Fancy. So today we will be dealing with some essay topics which would serve you for your tasks too during IELTS. And the topic here we are dealing today is character is influenced by the environment rather than the genetics. Do you agree with this statement?
Well, it's an odd topic because clearly both have an influence on each other, and I will start by saying that genetics gets gradually influenced by the circumstances as we progress in life. Genetics are inherited characteristics that you acquire from your parents, and they need to be adjusted as we progress because what transpired earlier in the genetic mode under which you were created is not what exists now. There are certain features, certain characteristics that you acquire which may not be relevant in this day and age, which may not be socially acceptable in this day and age. Now, it doesn't mean that it is totally irrelevant. It is very relevant because there are certain topics, certain subjects, certain characteristics that need to be advanced even in this day and age. And people have found no reasonable alternative to replace them or reasonable cause to replace them. So, the genetical factors that remain in you and which apply these days helps you to start along that process with the advantage that you already have those characteristics in you. And those same characteristics develop into other characteristics depending upon the environment in which you are. To take a simple basic example, once you leave the absolute control of your parents at a young age and go to school, your entire behavior, which you are able to exercise freely with your parents, may not be acceptable in a group of other students, may not be acceptable to the teacher, and may not be acceptable to the standard of age that you have entered into that form of teaching. And despite those factors, it is very important to understand that genetics remains as the foundation within you from which emanates ideas and environments to which they can adjust so that you are able to live and move forward in life and socially to advance also. Genetics is a very complex subject, extremely complex, and one knows only a little when you are not a scientist and trying to understand it in a broad sense. So there may be features in genetics that are not movable, not adjustable at all. But one thing that is good is that the environment is changeable regularly and constantly. You move from one room to the other and the environment changes. You might feel free and might be dancing in one room. When you go outside that room, there may be a classroom and you will have to keep quiet. So
do you think if a person who comes from a background of criminals,
yes,
and then he shifts to a neighborhood which is most of the professional ones,
yes,
do you think it would affect his character?
Well, initially there is the trait that is there, and the environment will gradually change him because he realizes how people like to live. If he has moved into an area which previously he may not have been able to afford socially or in money terms, And now he has acquired a sense of what it is to be able to live in a society where values matter a great deal, and it brings peace and understanding without the need to thieve or do other criminal offenses for survival. Okay, so yes, it does change, and this is why for prisoners who have spent quite a lot of time in prison, rehabilitation is a difficult thing, but it is being tried very strongly, and many people have returned successfully into society without feeling left out, without feeling lost, and without feeling unwanted. I remember at this stage a very good Hollywood movie in which the experiment was tried of a person belonging to a different ethnic group and habitually conducting himself in manners that attract the police and, of course, jail sentences. But he was then taken and put in a place where his entire environment was changed, and he became a rich person, able to order what he wanted, have the things that he wanted, and to play on the stock exchange. Now, this was an experiment done in the film, and it showed that he could be just as successful, maybe even more successful, than his counterpart who was born with all the advantages in life and who was then put into this person's position. And he started himself behaving with all those characteristics necessary to thieve, to attract the police and their attention. And of course, at the end of the day, they unite together. And I think most of you all who do see English movies will immediately know what I am referring to. So you see, genetics does lay the foundation of your behavior, but as you progress in life, with age, with change of circumstances, with family, with a new level of friends, with outgrowing school, outgrowing university, outgrowing education in many ways, and gaining the life experience that you need, you are bound to have changes in your life which will adjust to the present circumstances that you face, very likely a family, a wife and children, meeting a new group of friends or having new neighbors. All these factors are changes that occur despite your basic genetic makeup. Okay? So I say that while one is very adjustable, the other is more or less permanent, but it gets adjusted because of the environment into which it is moved into.
So I guess the entire session was informative, and we'll hope to see you the next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Namaskaram.